Okay, so Pi News episode 20. I was planning to do a video on this, but I had some news that TwisterOS, my favourite operating system, now has a Lite version. So let's switch over to screen capture. So I had this comment from Riley Davies on my latest video. Hi Lee, in the next Pi News episode you do, can you note that TwisterOS Lite has just been released? Just includes the themes, Box 86 and Wine. Now I'd been asked about this in previous comments, and I'd mentioned it in either my Twister videos or Pi News as thinking it would be a very good idea. If you're not into games as much, but you do want a well-running operating system that also has some really useful features on the Pi, this could be it. So if we go into the menu, let's have a look. I've just left it on the standard theme, so you've got the Conky information on the top there that I mentioned in the recent TwisterOS 2.0 video that I did. And all of that, you could watch that video if you want to find out a bit more about TwisterOS. I'm happy to see that Netflix works on this straight off. It works under Chromium. There's no Chromium Media Center on there. It's got the newest fix on there, which has only just been added, but it plays absolutely fine and you don't have to do anything to it. The one thing that's going to happen now is people are going to say that certain things aren't installed on there. And I think they've probably done the right thing in that they've made it incredibly minimal and loads of things that you would expect to be on TwisterOS aren't on there. But if you do want them, you can install Pi Apps or Pi Case and get them back. But it's more important to give you this sort of lighter version that you can then add to. If you want all the extras, just have the normal version of TwisterOS. But this is a light, stripped down version, and then you can add what you want to it. But you've got all the graphical user interface and the themes, and also all the Box 86 integration that's in there. So I think they've done a great job with this. And it's available on the TwisterOS site. You just go into downloads and you can see TwisterOS Lite for Raspberry Pi 4 is there. And if you've got any questions or queries, there's a really good FAQ section on here, and it's worth going through that. And if you're still stuck, then join the Discord and get the information from there. Okay, so next up, I love this story. This Raspberry Pi computer can shoot actual laser beams. And this is from TechRadar Pro, but it also mentions Tom's Hardware as well. A PhD student from Russia has used a Raspberry Pi and some other innocent pieces of tech to design an innovative solution that neutralizes mosquitoes using lasers. And if you scroll down, it just sounds too good to be true, and I can't believe there's no video for this. The project uses the Raspberry Pi camera module to detect mosquitoes in its vicinity. When one is spotted, the Pi asks a connected galvanometer to adjust the mirrors and orient the laser. Once the lasers are in position, the Pi powers it up and delivers a potent burst to zap the flying cretin out of existence. If anybody finds a link to a video of this, I'll be really interested in it. Yeah, I don't think there is a video because this is on the Tom's Hardware site where the original story was posted, and yeah, there's a nice mock-up, but no video. Next up, I noticed the other day that the Raspberry Pi Bootloader has had another update, and one of these looked interesting. So Nvme Boot support was added. Now NVMe drives are super fast. Now I think it's possibly overkill on the Pi. I did have this M.2 NVMe drive and it was the fastest that I've ever tried, and I've also got an M.2 which I use with a USB adapter, but I think they take a bit too much power from the Pi. Whether this has changed and they're not taking too much power, because I found if I plugged anything else in, it would often cause it to pause or stop or something like that. So maybe this update has fixed that. But I think from a value point of view, for me, I'd still probably stick with SSD drives, because I think for the money and the performance you get, I think they're probably the best option for the Pi. But each to their own. If you want the fastest storage you can possibly get, NVMe is super fast. There's a new web browser for the Pi. I saw this on Reddit, and it's called Flow. You can see here, interestingly, apparently this isn't based on Blink, Gecko or WebKit. This is something entirely new. What a shame it isn't open source. So some people aren't going to be into it because it's not open source. I figured I'd probably have a look at it. You can get a download from their site and there's various information there. And if we have a read about it, Flow is now available for download for all Raspberry Pi computers. Flow's goal is to render every website correctly. It already works well with most HTML UIs, but there is currently a long way left to go. This preview release is for those people who are curious where we are with our new browser engine. So let me know what you think if you've tried it out already. The more the merrier. Now, a few things on Reddit. This steel case for Raspberry Pi 4, and this is mostly handmade, it says here, and it just looks cool. And I like the fact that there's a lot of images. So if we flick through, and I'll put a link in the description to everything I discuss on here. So it's using the Ice Tower cooler with a fan. You can see the bottom plate there. This has got welds in it, it looks like, and this mesh for air to pass through. There you go, looks pretty decent. And I really like this monitor. Now, it's a funny one with monitors because I would imagine the parts used to create this probably cost more than my Acer monitor, which I think I paid about £60 for, but it's not the point. I like the fact that people try these things to try and upcycle things and get things working, and you can see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of connectivity on the bottom there, certainly more than most monitors, but yeah, so it just looked interesting to me. Love the look of this. So this is a Pi Zero built into a cassette tape. I'm using it to emulate a ZX Spectrum. Had to do some severe trimming, but it works well, and that heatsink keeps it icy cool even when overclocked. Now, you wouldn't think you'd need a heatsink for running ZX Spectrum on a Pi Zero, but it looks so cool, doesn't it? You can see the connectivity on the bottom here. It looks really nicely engineered, and it just looks like a nice piece of art, if anything. But it's functional as well. Oh, we've got 4 photos here. Boots C15 computer cassette. Look at that. So with it all closed up, all the connections through the bottom of the cassette, and it looks like a 3.5mm audio jack, composite video. Nice little display there as well. Just very different, very interesting. And then I saw this. Raspberry Pi Foundation's boss waves off listing rumours. So we click on the story. Raspberry Pi Foundation boss waves off listing rumours, says Biz. Discussions may have been over-interpreted. If you want floating pies, check out the International Space Station. I'll put a link to this story, but it looks like there isn't too much to it. And it says here, a valuation of 300 million was mooted. And last up, another Pi build. Well, this is a Geek Pie Case. I haven't seen these, so I must have a look at these. But if I click on it, it looks pretty cool. I like all the see-through stuff with the Pi because I like to see how things are going on. You can see there's a power switch on the front there. It looks like there's an SSD drive underneath, or an M.2 drive or something, but there isn't a lot of information on it. Pi 4 8GB, 2GHz, X825 expansion board and acrylic case, 500GB Samsung Evo 860. There's not an awful lot more information on there. I just thought it was a nice picture, and it was just before I was doing Pi News, so I thought I'd include it. Anyway, I hope all this helps. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.